So happy Friday, everybody. So we have to always start with our What's Karen Wearing? So today, this is one of my new shirts. It is a cat shirt. I'm going to stand up. So the cats are actually at a Japanese restaurant and they're having udon and ramen noodles and there's some egg and I think there's sushi on here somewhere. But anyway, I love Japanese food. I love sushi and I love cats. So I was like, hey, why not? How many people have a, cat going to the Japanese restaurant shirt? So that's the first thing that's most important. The next thing that's most important is what's the bear wearing? Well, the bear has decided he's going to the beach. So he's got his beach attire. I can't find his shirt. He has a matching shirt, but I don't know where it is. And he's got his cool shades because, he's cool. And so he's always, he has to hurry up and wear his beach stuff because before long, like you all said, he's going to be wearing his snowsuit. So I figured we'd better do the beach before I bring out the snowsuit. And right now, by the way, when you go to PetSmart, they have all the really cool costumes for dogs. And, every time I go in there, I look and I'm like, oh, I can't do it. I can't buy any more bear clothes. But they've got some really cute stuff. And, they have small, medium, and large, however size your dog is. But they make great. I almost got him a country western outfit, and it has a hat. But the funny thing is it has 4 boots. So because, it's meant for a dog. And so, I'm like, oh, I'm paying for 2 extra boots I don't even need, But it was kind of funny. And then, so the other thing, I've been going through stuff like always, and I ran across, and I had totally forgot about this. So I think I told you about the bear. When I went to PA school, gosh, this was in 1986 or 87, I think it was. My best friend gave me the bear, and he had a scrub suit on, and it was just, I used to keep him in the car. I would buckle him in, and, he would go to all my clinical rotations with me and everything in the car. And so anyway, when I got that bear, shortly after that, my dad found a little mini version. And his name is Dr. Bear, but he's really a PA because, we know being a PA is better than being an MD anyway. So, my dad got this, and this was his bear. His bear actually doesn't have any clothes. I should probably get some small outfits for him so the 2 of them could dress up, because he's about the Chihuahua size. But I had forgotten about this, and I was going through a bunch of boxes, and I was like, oh, that's right. Dad had one, too. And he did the same thing. He was copying me. He would put it in the front seat of the car, and he was all strapped in. Of course, the strap didn't even cover him or anything. But he would ride around with him when he went fishing and stuff. So I just, had to pull him out. But he's going to have to get some new duds because this is he's just too serious in life and needs to lighten up a little bit. So we need to do something with him. So anyway, I thought today what we would do is, before we get too far along, so what famous drummer's birthday is today? Take a guess. Name some famous drummers.
Sharon Newell.
No. Guess again.
Gene Krupa.
You're close. Who else is kind of like in that category of drummers we've talked about?
Buddy Rich.
Yes. It is Buddy Rich's birthday today. And guess how old Buddy would be?
Ancient.
Yeah. He was born in 1917. He would be 105.
Wow.
Isn't that just astounding? And the reason I even knew that, because last night I had my little community band, and a couple of days ago, one of the guys in the band, one of the trombone players, posted on our Facebook page. He said, I'm cleaning up all my old CDs and I'm finding homes for them, kind of like what I'm doing, right? I've been selling stuff off, And he named off the categories. This is who I have. Miles Davis, blah, 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 Buddy Rich. If anybody wants them, let me know. I'll bring them to practice on Thursday. So I immediately wrote, and even though I'm trying to get rid of CDs, I mean, how can I resist? Because I honestly only have a couple of Buddy Riches because all mine were albums, which I don't play anymore. And so anyway, I said, yeah, I'll take the Buddy Riches off your hands, on Thursday. So last night he brings the bag over. Well, I'm thinking it's going to be like 3 CDs or 5 CDs or something. There's like 17 or 18 Buddy Rich CDs. And I was just like, wow. And, I just happened to, I don't know, I looked something up on Buddy, or maybe it popped up in one of my something. And I realized his birthday was today. And so I told the guy last night, I'm like, this is amazing. This is like, his birthday is, like right now. Actually, I thought it was yesterday. So I told him it's today, but it's really actually today. And so that was just like a great, present for Buddy Rich's birthday that I got his CDs, So anyway, I'm going to be listening to them in the car. That's a good place to listen to them. I still do listen to CDs. So, here's one of them I just happen to have. So I wanted to bring this down here so I'd remember to talk about him. So that's really cool. So the other thing is, so Jasmine had the suggestion of, go through the wall again and go through the toys again. And so that's what we're going to do. And then we might not even get through all of them because I started accumulating them from all over the place. And I'm like, I got a lot of stuff, and so we might even have to do a part 2 on this. And then the other thing is next week, I'm going to do drum machine and this thing over here called an octopad and my Latin stand and some of the stuff that I can't get in a bag, that I have. And I'll probably set up somewhere different in the room because I'm kind of like I'm just always moving things around, trying to you should see my path to get here. Like if I have to go to the bathroom, it's going to take me 20 minutes to get out of here before I break my neck on something. So, I have this huge space. This room is huge. When it was empty, it was huge. And now it's just like I have to walk through like this and I have to move stuff out of the way. But, there's nothing I want to really get rid of that much. I might sell some of my older vintage stuff. But anyway, so let's just jump in here. I think I'll start with the wall because it's right there. And then I have a bag and then a whole pile. So we'll and feel free to just interrupt me and ask questions, because otherwise I just ramble on. Oh, and I have also my different views. So I set up my GoPro is now over here instead of up above. So I kind of have more of a side view. And then I've got my other view, the purple camera over here. So I've got, some different views. If you can't see something, I can try to make it look prettier. There we go. Okay, so I think I'll just start with maybe this side of the wall. And I wish I remembered some of the stories because I need to really start writing things down before I start forgetting everything. So I'll tell you what I remember. So these 2 things I did not buy or bring back. Somebody went to, I believe it was Vietnam. Now I have been to Vietnam, but this was before I had been. And it was a student of mine who, after graduation, decided, hey, before I take a job, I'm just going to travel the world. So, hey, I already got 1 million student loans. What's another, $15,000 or something? So they just took off, and they went for several months. And I asked her, I said, if you happen to come across anything in a little market, the best places for toys are in some little random market in some tiny village, and you'll find something and it costs like dirt, money, and it's so cool stuff, so this is, and plus, it has to be something small that she could carry in her suitcase. So these are actually metal, and they actually have little metal balls inside this little metal donut thing, and she got it somewhere in Asia. I want to say Vietnam, but it could have been a nearby country, so I wish I would have remembered, and I have lost touch with her. But anyway, I've had these for probably 20 years, and they're just really, really cool. and they were probably used in some kind of ceremonial dance or event. Also up here, I won't take it down, it's just a tiny little drum, pretty common, made out of some kind of animal skin, a lot of times cow skin, sheep skin. It's so tiny, you can't really play it. It's more like a decoration. This was something I made one time out of a gourd, and I just decorated it, and it still has its original. I did not put anything in there. Those are its original seeds, so that's kind of fun. This one I'm pretty sure I got in Pisa, but I'm sure it wasn't made in Italy. I think it came across from Africa, and or it could have been the Middle East. So anyway, it's kind of cool, and it's definitely got animal skin, and it's ceramic, and it's painted, hand painted. This one, I believe, came from Africa. It's made out of like aluminum metal, and it's got these little aluminum, I believe they're aluminum or steel, some kind of metal, round circles. And you sometimes see these on a djembe. You'll actually see them attached to somebody's hand drum. It's got this super sharp edge, so I never pass this one around when I take it places because, you could really cut yourself on this. So it's very crude, but it's, effective. And so somewhere in Africa, I'm not sure exactly where exactly it came. This one's another one that I believe is from Africa. It's a rattle, basically very simple, made out of wood. It's got two little pieces of wood inside each side. So it's kind of neat. These are castanets, and they actually came from Spain. And my mom got these when she was pregnant with me. So these came from probably Barcelona in 1962. So they're kind of cool. And they're hand painted. They have a bull on one side and a bullfighter kind of on the other side. Over here we've got some spoons. These are kind of like you can clack them like that against your hand. And you could use metal spoons too. These are actually hand carved, it looks like. It's all one piece of wood, which is kind of cool. And you just whack it. And you can kind of get different sounds because of the spoon, where if you get a complete seal or a partial seal, you could actually get some really cool sounds. Hanging next to it is very important. Earplugs, which, I wish I would have wore more when I was younger, but I have them here to remind me, don't you think you should put some earplugs on? And so I put them there. They have little cases now. I used to never be able to, I would just have them everywhere. Now I have big bags of them, and I reuse them, but this is nice to have a little case. You can put this in your pocket. I always keep a set in the car. I always have a set with me because you just never know where you might be, and you're like, I probably should have earplugs on. This actually has a label. That's what I need to start doing. This one is Nigeria. And of course I didn't go to Nigeria. I don't remember exactly where I bought these, but I find them in like places like Asheville, in some little store, some little ethnic store that has goods from around the world. I love those stores that have goods from all over, and I always just walk around a few times because sometimes you'll find stuff just hidden in the corner. And these are a go-go bells, so there's two of them. And there's usually a high and a low, and this one's got its own little beater attached, so it's pretty cool, made out of some kind of metal. This one was another one that I think I got maybe even at Disney World, in the Epcot, Africa, or something like that. You see these also. Japan has a lot of these. This is, that's the interesting thing about some of these instruments, that you'll see them in multiple countries, the same kind of instrument. They're decorated a little different, but the idea is the same. And so this one, sometimes you'll see just a single. This one's a triple, and it's got these little wooden pieces off to the side, and you just twist your wrist. And it's kind of like a toy, but it's an instrument. And that one's a really cool one. It's got three different kind of designs on it. And so now here's one. It's also got, I started labeling some of them as I got older here. I got this in actually, this in Vietnam in 2017. This is a wooden cowbell. I got it in a tiny little village where we slept in like this big open, kind of like a family, I guess you'd call it their attic. Basically, it was kind of like the family lives on one level and then they rent out the upper level and everybody just sleeps in sleeping bags inside a mosquito net and you're pretty much like outside. But it does have a covering on it. It's like an open house, I guess, and you're sort of up above, and then they would provide meals for you, and it was this tiny little village. It was like the coolest experience because there's cows walking by, and it was very remote. We were not in a hotel for that one, and that was the most cool experience. And then at night we had this feast and dancing and just characteristic music, and it wasn't like touristy. This was like a real tiny little village. This is how these people make their living, is like rent out their upper level for like 10 people. We were a group of 15 and we were a part of a group. But it was like really cool. And so this was a cowbell that they had in their little market. And it's just this wooden log carved out. Somebody did this, and I probably paid $1 or something like that. It's just this took somebody like an afternoon or a day or 2 days, to do that. I'm sure I gave them more money than what they were asking, because this is how they're making their money. This is a little tiny shakeré. This one is actually got a label on it. I got to change my glasses. Maybe I actually could read where it's from. This one says, it says made in Ghana. Okay, so a lot of instruments are made in Ghana. And this is just a little baby one, and it's got these shells. So it's like a gourd, but it's got these little shells, and it can be sort of shaken. And this could really cut through. And I've got a really big one around here somewhere, which I'll have to dig out and show you. But this is a shakeré, which is really cool, used in African music. These I most recently bought when I was doing the show on the desert show, and I got these in Atlanta in the Indian store. There was like a whole right off of Church Street. There's kind of an Indian strip mall, and I went into every single store in there looking for stuff, and I found these. And the cool thing is, you'll notice if you look at them, they're not identical, and it took me a minute to figure it out, and I think I even asked the guy. But you put your thumb in the hole, and then this one is bigger. Well, why is that? Well, you're supposed to put your other hand. Let's see, how do I do this? It's been a while since I done this, but basically it's meant to be like put together, or maybe maybe it was like this. I can't remember now. Gosh, I should have wrote that down, but I remember this part is for this part of your hand, and this part is this, but I thought it was supposed to be played with one. Oh, maybe that's it. Yeah, that's what it is. You clack it to... Oh, there we go. Now we got it. So it's supposed to be like this. The thumb's in one side, the finger's in the other, and you go like that. That's what it is. It took me a minute. I was like, I know it's one hand, but how do I whack them together without smashing my hand? And you dance. Okay. So those are really cool. They're basically like a baby tambourine. And, okay, so these I know came from Peru. And they are goats' hooves, real goats. I don't think they kill the goat. I believe these either shed or get cut off, I believe. So hopefully this is not a bunch of, well, they might eat the goats too. I don't know. But I also know you can actually find these at PetSmart because these are like dog treats, like they have... hooves from animals. I remember when I had a dog, he loved those things. I would take him in PetSmart and let him pick out his treat. He'd always go for the hooves, and he'd gnaw on it forever, and that thing would smell, because it would get wet, and it's just like, oh, I hope he hurries up and destroys it or eats it or something, because it's just like, wet goat hoof does not sound good, or does not smell good. It sounds good. So anyway, these are meant to go on a wrist, I believe, and again, associated with dance, rhythm. Here's a little baby tambourine. I think this one was another one that might be Africa. It's got a head on it. Not all of them do. It's got the jingles. It can be drummed on. it's got a great little sound. You know, if you go buy a professional tambourine, they're expensive. I mean, like one that they use in the symphony, not just one that you use in your garage, but like a really good tambourine, you can spend a lot of money. When I say, I mean, $50 is the cheapest one, and they probably go to $250 for a tambourine. But you know, if you're playing with some symphony, you got to have good stuff, and that's with anything. So here's something I got this also in the Indian store somewhere down on Church Street. These, you untie this. I just have them tied for display. This goes around your foot, each foot. So you tie this around your ankle, and you tie this around your other ankle, and then again you dance, and you get that characteristic jingle sound. Okay, let's see. This one is another one. This one's a really old one. I've had it for a really long time. I can't remember where I got it. It's one of those, just like we saw before, but this is a single one. And I really wish I would have written some of this. I need to start doing a catalog. Oh, this one's about ready to fall off. This one's also made in Ghana. This has got, this one's woven, and it's got a head on it, and it's meant to be. It's got, like seeds inside. So they basically weave this little basket, put the seeds inside, and then weave this little head on top. So, I mean, that was a ton of work for somebody to do that. It's artistic, and it's beautiful, and it makes sound. Somebody brought this back for me from, I believe it was a student of mine, a drum student, and his family was from, I want to say, Cuba or somewhere, and so he brought this back, and it's got a little. I've got some Indian drums that I want to show you sometime that my dad acquired. He was in a group here in Colorado that went and kind of helped Native American Indians, not Indians, but Native American Indians, and he would go and help clean up, like, I guess, grave sites and stuff like that. And he got some really old traditional Native American drums that I should pull out and show you also. I just remembered that. I forgot. I have them in the other room as a decoration, but they would be great to talk about. And then there's another little drum here that's kind of got a cow skin. Let's see if I can get a different view. Oh, no, this is probably the best view. I'll try to get it over here. But it's basically just wood, and again, probably some kind of cow skin stretched over the top. I think that's the wall. So next, I've got a bag of goodies that I take. These are the ones that you've probably seen in the past because I used to bring them to our class. First one, the guiro, looks like a fish. You kind of hold it, you claw your non-dominant hand, and then you've got this little, I like to use a chopstick, the part that's not rounded, but this part's kind of got a little ridge on it. And you can tap it. So that's the guiro. And I guess I'll just make kind of a pile from one side to the other. That's used in Latin music, like Brazilian music, samba, things like that. It really cuts through. Here's another one, much more modern. This is the cabasa, also known as the afusi or afuchi. And you hold it, handle in your dominant hand, your non-dominant hand here. It's got these little beads. You can shake it. And I like to, you can make a choo-choo sound by just accenting it. So it's kind of fun. And it's much more modern. Obviously, it's not real crude. It was machine made. Claves, and these are rosewood claves. Rosewood is that marimba that I talked to you about dropping down the stairs. So the same kind of wood. And actually, you don't want to hold them like this, which a lot of people would just naturally pick them up and whack them together. You don't hear the resonance, so you basically just have your non-dominant hand kind of cupped, and it just sits. You want to not squeeze it. You just want it to sit. The more you squeeze it, you're going to change the pitch. So you really want it to resonate, Those are used a lot, again, in Latin music, and that will really cut through a band. So you never want to just hand off these instruments to some random public person off the audience, because, you know, the whole band, you start listening to that, and if they're dragging or rushing, you're going to throw everybody off. So you always have to be careful who you hand your instruments off. If you're playing live and you think, oh, let's get the audience to participate, here, you play the claves, you play this, you play that, all of a sudden the band's like, wait a minute, like, we're not together, because, like, you know, should I follow this one or that one? And you're, whoa, slow, fast, slow, fast. So you want to be careful with some of these instruments. Like, whoever's holding that cowbell is running the show. So they might look like they're just over there whacking, but in a real band, whoever's playing like something that's really going to cut through is driving the rhythm, and they could like make or break. It'll turn into a train wreck, you know. So you have to be really careful with that. That's a lesson for the middle school band director. You know, like, you take the kid who's in the corner, and you're like, hey, you know, want to get them participating. If you give them that job, you better hope that they're like, you know, have some rhythm, you know. So you want to try to be really careful who's playing the loudest instrument that's keeping the time, because they're in charge. It's not everybody else doing all the intricate stuff, because they're going to follow that doon 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 wherever it is. So here's, you know, a tambourine. This one's not completely rounded. It also doesn't have a head on it. Some of them do. And it's got this little mount. So this is meant to be put on like a hi-hat or another stand. You could put it anywhere on your drum set. It's also got this little rim here that's plastic. So it's meant to be hit with a stick. Most of the time, you would never take a tambourine, like a normal wooden tambourine, like one of those ones I just talked about, like at the symphony, and start whacking it with the stick, because you'll give somebody a heart attack. So the drummers will all be like, oh, the tambourine. So, but this one has got this metal, I mean, it's a plastic plate, and it's meant to be hit with a stick. So this one, not this side though. It is plastic. You'll beat this side up, but this one's got an extra little reinforcement. So this is great to have on your drum set, mounted somewhere, and you get a tambourine sound. Or if you have it on your hi-hat, every time your hi-hat goes down, you get a tambourine sound without having to actually strike it. I always make a joke about this. So, you know, I've got this banana and my lemon. Oh, how did that get in my percussion bag, you know? And I think I already told you the story about my mom and the banana, but I'll just tell it again real quick. So one day, this was not very long ago, you know, I've got this fruit bowl in the kitchen, and I've got, you know, a banana and a lemon and an orange and an apple and one other piece of fruit. I can't remember. An orange, apple, anyway, 5 things. And one day my mom said, you know, it was breakfast time. She said, you know, I think I would like to have a banana. I would like to have that banana. And I was just like, really? You'd like to have that banana? Why would you like to have that banana? And she said, well, I've noticed that banana never gets brown, and it just looks so good. And I said, okay, well, I'll give it to you if you want the banana. So I brought it over to her, and then she was just like, I should have known. Because she knows me. You know, why would I have a bowl of fruit, especially a perfectly ripe banana, day after day after day after day, you know? But anyway, so she was so disappointed. I had to go to the store and get a banana. But anyway, here's they make great sounds, and I tend not to pass those around at the classes I go to, because if you break them, that banana, I was just in Guitar Center yesterday, is $10, you know, and the whole fruit thing is like 25 or 30, so I'm like, oh, if somebody drops it and all the stuff comes out, you know. So I tend to only pass around the things I don't mind getting broken, possibly, because people try their best, but, you know, they drop things. And so here's the apple and the orange. You can make a snake sound, so those are kind of fun. Oh, it's a lemon. I think that's what the other piece of fruit is. I don't know where it is right now, but... Oh, no, I already got the lemon. I don't know. I'm going to have to figure out what the 5th one is. So here's what I pass around. I pass around the espresso can that's got, I don't know, I think rice in it, about that much. They get the same idea without, you know, if they drop it, the people will be mad if the rice spills all over the room, which, you know, luckily hasn't really happened. I better hope that doesn't happen. But And you can also use the tennis ball cans, the old metal ones. Now they're making tennis ball cans out of cardboard, I guess, but the metal cans sound great. Also, you can turn that into a drum, so you can have a little bongo also. Here's everybody's favorite, the thunder tube. So, you can just wiggle it and you get thunder, and you can change the pitch, and you can also turn it into an old creaky haunted house door. So some sort of a special effect, you could probably make one of these out of, an old gift wrap, or maybe a paper towel. It's a little small, but you probably could, and actually put maybe cardboard or something on this side. This one's like a little head, and then find a spring and just run it through. I bet you could probably make one. I've not tried that with this. I've made a lot of stuff, but I haven't tried that, but I should. That would be kind of cool. Oh, here's one I know you all know and have heard and will recognize when you hear it from now on. So the Vibra Slap. And inside here, it's just got these little rivets. Also, another way to play it is to squeeze it. And you'll hear it in jazz music. And, somebody's not just going the whole song. It's like one time, somewhere, that perfect moment. And it's great, and so you'll hear that. I know you've probably heard it before, so you'll have to start keeping a list of songs you hear. It's like, oh, that one had a vibra slap at the beginning or the end or in the middle or whatever. But it's a cool invention. Like, who sat around one day and said, I'm going to get a wooden ball and I think I'm going to attach it, and that's ingenious, Some of these others are pretty predictable, kind of I was like, yeah, okay. But that's cool. I mean, that's really, really, I have to look up. I don't know who invented it. It would be interesting to find out. Okay, here's another one that I could see somebody figuring this one out, because a piece of metal, even if you're just picking up a piece of sheet metal and you wiggle it, you got that characteristic thunder sound. But hey, what if we did something when it's doing the whoop, 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 we also struck it with something, And instead of having one hand doing this and one hand striking it, what if we made it so with one hand I could do both those things? So it's got the metal piece, and it's got not only one, but two of these little balls that are on a little metal leg, I guess. And again, very unique. You'll hear that. When you hear it, you're like, oh, there's a flexitone. I think it sounds like, you're on Mars. Some sci-fi movie, in the part where they're walking down something spooky, and all of a sudden, whoa. Or you're under the ocean, so the flexitone, I love, and it comes in two sizes. This is the small size. I can't remember if I've heard the larger size. I think I did, and I didn't like it. That's why I don't have one. Usually, if I liked it, I probably would have got it. But I think it was too big, and just, I don't know. I like the small one better. Here, of course, is our average everyday triangle. I'm using a bass drum beater. This is a bass drum beater for a floor pedal, a bass pedal, but I couldn't find my triangle beater. I lost it somewhere, and so I'm just using this because this is what I could find. And the triangle has an open end, so you could strike it here or here or here. You can do a roll, or you could do the dinner bell. Usually don't do that. If you're playing in concert band, and last night I have some triangle stuff, and there's a roll. If you're in 7th grade and you're learning triangle and you see the roll and nobody tells you, you're probably going to go, and it's just going to sound awful. So, but the way you really do a roll, if you watch the symphonic players, they find the in-between spot either up above or over here on the two closed sides, and you just go back and forth. It's a very little effort. You don't want to be back there going, in the symphonic. I've seen all this stuff. That's why it's funny, But you can't help it if nobody tells you how to do stuff. You just a triangle roll. Okay, how am I going to roll the triangle? And it sounds like this horrible dinner bell. It's supposed to be this little delicate do 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 waltz thing where you're supposed to like ding, and instead you're back there going whoa whoa. The band director's like, a little less triangle, please. Okay, so here's your Jingle Bells. And this one's great. It's got a little Velcro strap so you can put it around your wrist or your ankle. Makes you think of snow. Hopefully not yet. Our typical, this is a toy maraca. I have a whole bin of maracas. I could probably do a whole show, a whole session on maracas. Look, hand-painted ones, they're from all over. This one's just a plastic New Year's Eve maraca. But I like it because I can pass it around, and if somebody breaks it, I don't care. And if they drop it, I don't really care. I don't know what's in here. Probably some kind of little plastic. It really cuts through, though. Some of the wooden ones are kind of quiet, and that makes people want to whack them harder, and they end up, throwing it across the room. So this works pretty well, and that's why I like the medicine containers. I didn't bring any of my medicine containers down here, but your old medicine containers, put a little bit of rice in the bottom or some beans or whatever you've got, and you can turn it into a little shaker, all different sizes. You can do the big vitamin size or the little bitty prescription size or whatever, but they have different pitches. And I cover up the label with tape so you don't have to read the patient's information or whatever. But they make great instruments. Couple more here. I've got quite a few still. This one is a toy. I got it in a toy store. I just looked it up on Amazon to see if I could buy it, and it doesn't show up. So I don't know. It's called a Zoob Tube, the ultimate cosmic sound machine. This is really old. I've had this probably since I was a kid. It's got a spring in here. I hope you can hear this stuff. I should have probably set up a mic. And you can also talk into it. Hello! So you can shake it. I think somebody's beat up the spring. I'll have to, I don't want to poke my eye out. But anyway, I probably could make one of these if you get a long spring and just get a gift wrap or poster tube. And I think the spring just goes down and they have a little hole here for you to pluck it, and that's, you can shake it, you can talk into it. So this would be pretty easy to recreate. In a blizzard, I'd probably be doing some of this stuff, this season. It's like, what am I going to do today? I'm retired. I think I'm just going to get a spring and I'm going to make a Zoob Tube, Why not? Hey, here's some, I've got 4 or 5 of these. So this is your characteristic rain tube or rain, why am I blanking on the name? Rain something. You make rain with it. So it's a cactus. They actually cut off one end up here to put the pebbles in or whatever, little rocks or stones of some kind. And also the little cactus, these were poked out cactus and they pound them in. So the little cactus are all in different directions inside. Then they slice one end off, put in the stones, seal it up, and sometimes they decorate it. Rainmaker, I believe. I don't know why I'm blanking on that name. Rainmaker. You can shake it. I have different ones, different sizes, small, large. It'll last pretty long. And that's the nice thing. You could make this, and I have made this before. I've got one around here out of a gift wrap. I took a gift wrap roll, and I sealed the end with... I balled up some aluminum foil and put down in there, and then I covered the end and I taped it just to make sure it didn't come out. Then the other side, I put in some, before I put in the BBs, I took nails. And, on a gift wrap, it's got that spiral. And so I got nails that were just long enough to go in but not go all the way across. And I followed the spiral. and I put the nails in so they were in a spiral pattern the whole way down, about a quarter inch apart. I think I made a video about how to do it. And then I put in, I can't remember, BBs or rice or something like that, and sealed it up on the other end the same way. And it sounds really great. And, you know, so those are pretty easy to make. It takes a while to poke those nails in all the way down. Okay, so I have a whole nother bucket. Let's see how we're doing for time. Oh, we're doing great. So I just started, I got a bucket. This was a bucket I got at one of the shows that people signed. You know, so this is a special bucket. It never gets played because everybody signed it at the end of the show. So this is I just grabbed it because I was like, what can I put all this stuff in? So, and some of these you haven't seen because I don't take out. So here's a baby steel drum I got somewhere on a cruise, some probably Jamaica or somewhere like that. They've actually even labeled what the different, you know, what the pitches are. And I do have, like, somewhere, I don't have it right here with me, but you wouldn't use a normal stick. You would use, actually they take a stick and they take one of those little rubber balls and they hollow out the rubber ball and they put the stick in the rubber ball, they glue it, and so you hit it with a rubber ball or a mallet that's kind of soft, you know, and not a stick like this. But you can hear the different pitches, and somebody hammered this out, and they have the big, of course, oil cans, you know, and you can buy those. They're super expensive, and they sound beautiful, and I've never really explored. I would love to be in a steel band. It would be really cool to learn some of the instruments or some of the songs, the calypso kind of music, but, you know, it's really a great sound and really cool, and it would be, you know, challenging, actually, to learn something like that. So that's a little baby kind of toy. Here's another one. Somebody brought this back for me from, I believe it was Peru. So this is a rain stick. Rain stick, that's what it is, not rainmaker. Rain stick. That makes sense. It's a stick, right? So here is one that's decorated, you know. It's kind of got like a, looks like an alpaca here and some kind of a vase here and this crazy face here. That guy's got some teeth on him. And then, you know, it doesn't last real long, but it's neat. So it's decorated. It's more for kind of decoration, I guess. Here's another one. Came from the same place in Peru. Now this one's really cool. It's decorated. It's a gourd, and it doesn't last real long, but you could shake it. And the cool thing is on the side, guess what? They also gave you a guiro. I shouldn't use metal on this, but I can't find my chopsticks buried right now. So not only do you get a rain stick and a decoration, but you get a guiro too. So that was really kind of a unique one. I've not seen many of those. Here's some claves that came from Haiti because they wrote the word Haiti on them. These I bought at one of those little markets, and they're just very crude pieces of wood. Somebody sanded them down. They don't cut through like rosewood does, but they do the job. And, you know, probably took somebody some time to find the right piece, to carve it, to smooth it out, write the name of where it is, and sell it, you know, and I think it's really cool. I have a million of these. Kind of, I didn't realize I had a million until I started looking around, and I'm like, oh, wow, I have one there, and I have one over there, and I have one over there. You know, when you put everything all in one place, kind of like I've been going through my office supplies and donating them. I've been donating like crazy. I donated to the preschool 3 boxes of stuff. And I have all these pencils. When you start putting all your pens in one pile or all your pencils in one pile, because I have some over there and I have some over there, I never can find one. When I need one, the one I find, it's that tall and it needs to be sharpened, right? But any other time when I'm going through stuff, I'm like, golly, I got a million pencils. I start putting them all together and sharpening them, and I'm like, I will never use these in my lifetime, you know, like, so I'm trying to donate them to schools and stuff. Some of the erasers are not good. They need to you have to put a new eraser on them. But like same thing with these. I mean, I start looking around. I'm like, wow, I didn't know I had so many. So most of them are kind of I have on bookshelves and in my bedroom. I just different places. They're not in the studio. They're just decorations. But there is these little baby drums, and they're they're really cool. They're like a little baby djembe. Like you can hang them up. And so some people bring back, some I bought. I think I'm going to stop collecting because I found that, they're all kind of the same. They're cool, but how many? This one actually sounds pretty good. Some of them are actually real instruments, and some are just more like a toy or a decoration for tourists, probably. Here's another form of the jingle bell. So when my mom was staying with me in Atlanta, I gave her this, and at night, I would hear this in the middle of the night. It's like, oh, gotta run downstairs, we're going to the bathroom. So every time I hear that from now on, I'm going to think about that. So I also gave her a little bell, and sometimes I still, in the middle of the night, I wake up and I'm like, she's still over at rehab, but I hear the bell. I'm like, oh, that's right. Okay, I don't have to get up. But I have PTSD from being woke up a million times at night. So be careful what you give your older people, because forever it will be ingrained in your brain. Every time I hear jingle bells, I'm going to have to run to the bathroom, I think. Okay, here we go. Here's some finger cymbals. So I just crack myself up sometimes. So these are meant to be played like this at a 90-degree angle. I have some others that are more cool. These I think were, again, kind of, well, I did get these in the Indian store, but they're kind of modern. I like the ones that are the old, beat-up looking ones that look ancient. And I have some of those, and they sound really cool, and they probably are ancient. These are all shiny, I like the old, authentic stuff a lot better. What else? Oh, a store-bought egg shaker. So I make these at Easter time. I buy tons of Easter eggs. I'm not going to buy any more because, again, I realize I have thousands. And I put rice or beads or something in there. I seal it with tape. Very important. But these are the store-bought ones. They're a little smaller than a regular little Easter egg. And they really sound great, though. A lot better than the homemade ones. But again, you just risk if somebody accidentally drops it. This little thing probably costs, I don't remember, more than it should. Let's just say that. If anything's a musical instrument, all of a sudden you just add $20 or $30. Medical, same way. You have this thing that you could like just make or buy, gloves, let's just say. Gloves from Home Depot that you're going to use in the garden. Well, if you turn them into medical gloves, and they're the same gloves, we can just tack on another 15, just because they're medical. Same thing with musical instruments. So you can make this for pennies, or you could buy it for $30, okay? But it does sound pretty cool. And so I have a few that are the store-bought ones that I use just because they really do sound better. But you wouldn't want to buy 100 of them and pass them around to a bunch of preschoolers or something, because you're going to make a mess and people are not going to invite you back. So, okay, wow. I didn't think we'd get through all of those. I actually have more, so I think I can do a part 2. Well, next week I want to do the drum machine, and I'm going to set up somewhere different, so maybe a different background. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to maneuver things around. I have time, so I can do that sort of thing. And another idea I had was, how we did Tour of the Pearl drum set? Wouldn't it be cool if I set up some of my other drum sets, like the green one and the blue one and the oyster double bass one, and did the tour of those, just because it would give me a reason to set them up and play them, and rotate things out, and it's fun for me. When I have time, it's fun to do that because it's time consuming to break it all down, to put it away, to get the whole new one. But it's also fun to do that. I can be down here all day long and realize I haven't eaten lunch, It's like, oh gosh, it's dinner time, and I forgot. I should probably eat. So that's when you love something, you just totally lose time. And so what questions do you have? It's like, be quiet, Karen. Any questions? Oh, there's Barb. I didn't see you way down there, Barb. Barb's there.
I've been here the whole time.
Oh, awesome. Any questions about any of these instruments or any? I have others that I will pull out next time, and we'll do kind of maybe a bunch of percussion stuff, but then also the drum machine and the octopad and some cool sounds on that. Oh, and this morning I sent you all some roll-off Halloween songs, so hopefully you can enjoy those.
Okay.
They're kind of fun. I really like the Frankenstein one was really cool. So get a chance to listen to those. They're kind of neat. Any questions about anything, or do you all like this stuff?
I love it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Can you see that?
You have, oh, nice.
Mexico.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm trying to
Yeah. What else you got?
I got stuff. I got this. I don't know where it's from.
Nice.
Let me see what else.
See, you could do this class. Are you going to take my job, Barb?
I'm just a collector. I'm a packer. Got that. What else do I got? And I've got one rain stick, but when I turn it, all this stuff falls out.
Oh.
I want this one.
Oh, nice. And it's a cat.
And it's got candy in it.
Oh,
See?
my gosh.
Yeah. So
That's cool.
In Mexico. What else? This is a fly swatter, I think. I don't think this is an instrument.
You never know.
Oh, I got another one with candy in it. This one.
Awesome. I don't have any with candy.
When I turn my rain stick, it's only about 2 feet. Can you hear it?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I never knew it had things sticking out. I think you're saying they poke it in, or they poke
Well,
it in?
this one they did. Now, this other one they did not. So this one is just a piece of wood. It's smooth. There's no little divots or anything. The other one is an original one, and it even came with how they made it. And you can see that it is clearly a cactus, and it's rough. When I rub my hand here, I could probably get cut because there's some pokies here. And what they did was these were cactus that were pointing out. They pound them inward, but if they didn't pound it all the way, I can feel a lot of ones that are sticking out. So this one is a cactus, and its things are poked inward, whereas that other one, they must have, I'm not sure what they do to have the little things inside. If they, honestly don't know how they did it. Like when I made mine with the gift wrap, I had to put nails all along, and you would see them on the outside. This one you don't see. Whatever they, and they may not have anything that's in the way, and that's why it doesn't last so long. It's just beads or whatever falling down. But the one that lasts longer, it has to go ding, 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 ding through the little objects. So that's why I think this one probably doesn't have anything. Just got beads. Doesn't have any pokies in there that are kind of like, what was that game years ago? You put the marbles at the top, and then you stick the little, kaplunk, you put the little sticks through, and then you pull the sticks out, and the marble would kind of like make its way down. So that's kind of like how I envision what's going on inside of that rain stick. It's like a, the kaplunk game, it's kind of making its way, and that's why it tinkles, and every time is different. It's not the same path, of who's getting stuck, and so that's kind of the fun and the uniqueness of that type.
I got this too.
Oh, nice. That's a ratchet. In fact, I have another bin. No wonder. I forgot. I do have another bin. Well, we'll do that next week. I have a ratchet like that. That's really cool.
I'm just looking around the house now to see. I know I have stuff all over the place, but I usually buy them just for me, visual and different things, you know.
Awesome.
And,
Like-
I will all my musical instruments to you. That takes one more thing off my list. That's great.
Aw, that's so cool. Well, I think we're going to have to end here, but I hope you like this. And next week we'll do something similar but different. And I've got new ideas of now what we can do, you know, because we were kind of like, what do we do next week? And I really like this show and tell. I think this is fun because of the stories and the educational stuff instead of just, you know, we were kind of playing music, and it's a little weird. Oh, and one quick thing. I am going to be in Atlanta in December, and I'll send the dates to Victoria and Valerie. I'm coming in for graduation. I won't be there long, but I think we might be able to work out a live or an outdoor or a something or other in December, so stay tuned for that.
We're in the great room now. We're in the great
Oh,
room. We can do
good. Well, I think we can definitely work something out. I won't be able to bring buckets, but we'll figure something out and have a class. So
when is graduation? What's the date?
it's, I think, the 13th of December. It's a Friday, and it's like I want to say the 12th or 13th. Or I'll send the dates though. We'll get it booked up.
I might not be back yet. If you want to stay in my condo, I can get somebody to open it up. I'm coming in mid-December sometime. I just don't know when.
Okay.
But
Well,
if you want to stay in my condo, you can. It's near Emory. It's less than 2
Oh,
miles.
I see. I think I'm not going to be there long, and I think but I appreciate that very much. That's really nice. I think we better end because I know they have another class. So thank you, Valerie, and I hope you have a nice weekend. Stay warm, I hear, and I will see you all next week.
Okay, thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Happy
It's fun.
Buddy Rich
Yeah.
birthday.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.